What if the most celebrated part of you, your kindness, is also the source of a slow, creeping poison in your life? Have you ever felt that profound sense of confusion, that deep spiritual exhaustion after pouring your heart and soul into someone, only to be left feeling emptier than before? You are not alone in this silent suffering. It is the quiet pandemic of the compassionate, the unseen wound of the giver. Ever wondered why your effort never seems to equal your results, especially in your relationships? You give, you support, you bend, you break, and yet the scales of connection remain perpetually unbalanced. The world tells you that to be good is to be generous, but it fails to warn you that not everyone who comes to your well is there to drink. Some are there to pollute the water. Some are there to see how much they can take before the well runs dry. You feel it, don't you? That subtle, gnawing sense that something is fundamentally wrong. It's not a loud alarm, but a quiet hum of exhaustion that underscores your days. It's the feeling of being a one-way street for emotional traffic, a perpetual support system for others with no support system of your own. You've likely been told you're too sensitive, or that you think too much. You've tried to rationalize it, to believe that your exhaustion is your own fault, a personal failing. But what if it's not? What if it's a sign, a signal from the deepest part of your psyche, your inner self, trying to alert you to a danger you've been conditioned to ignore? What if your depletion is not a sign of weakness, but a symptom of being surrounded by takers? This journey we are about to embark on is not about blaming others or becoming cynical. It is about illumination. It is about turning on the lights in the rooms of your life that have been kept deliberately dim. You will learn the 5 subtle, almost invisible signs that your generosity is attracting a taker. These are not the obvious red flags you read about in magazines. These are the deep psychological patterns, the energetic footprints left behind by a soul that consumes more than it contributes. By understanding these signs, you will be given more than just a defense mechanism. You will be handed a mirror and a map. A mirror to see your own unconscious patterns that may have invited this dynamic, and a map to navigate your way back to wholeness, to what the great psychologist Carl Jung called the process of individuation. This is about reclaiming your energy, honoring your inner truth, and learning to give from a place of abundance, not from a place of self-sacrifice. Let's begin with a truth that can change the way you perceive your relationships forever, starting today. The first and most powerful sign has nothing to do with what they say or do. It has everything to do with how you feel in the quiet moments after you've been with them. This is the sign of the psychic energy audit. After an encounter with this person, do you feel expanded or depleted? Do you feel energized, seen, and uplifted? Or do you feel drained, foggy, and strangely small? A healthy, reciprocal relationship is an energy exchange. It should, for the most part, feel nourishing. Even when discussing difficult topics, there's a sense of shared effort, of moving through something together. But an interaction with a taker is an energy transaction. They withdraw from your account without making a deposit. This isn't just about feeling tired. It's a deeper, more soul-level fatigue. It feels like your very life force has been siphoned off. They may have been charming, funny, or even complimentary, but your spirit knows the truth. Your body knows the truth. It manifests as a sudden need for a nap, a feeling of mental confusion, or a heavy, leaden feeling in your limbs. This is your intuitive self screaming what your conscious mind is trying to deny. A taker's presence creates a psychic deficit. They operate from a place of inner lack and unconsciously use your light to fill their own void. Pay attention to this feeling. It is your most honest compass. It is the first win in the battle to reclaim your sovereignty. It is the undeniable physical evidence that the balance of giving and receiving has been broken. Now that we've established this foundational truth that your own body and energy field are the ultimate lie detectors, let's deepen our understanding. This energetic depletion is the symptom, but what are the mechanics behind it? The second sign your generosity is attracting a taker is the pattern of the unreciprocated emotional bid. In the language of psychology, an emotional bid is any attempt from one person to another for attention, affirmation, or connection. It can be as small as a sigh, a shared glance, a brief story about your day, or a vulnerable admission of a small worry. In a healthy relationship, these bids are met with acknowledgement. They are seen and responded to. The giver, by nature, is a master of this. You hear the sigh and ask what's wrong. You see the glance and smile back. You listen to the story and ask thoughtful questions. You hear the worry and offer reassurance. Your entire being is calibrated to notice and respond to these subtle requests for connection. The taker, however, operates on a different frequency. When you make an emotional bid, one of several things happens. It might be completely ignored as if you never spoke. They might pivot the conversation immediately back to themselves, hijacking your moment of vulnerability and making it about their own experience. Or most insidiously, they might respond with a generic, dismissive platitude that shuts down the connection. "Oh, that's rough," they might say, before immediately changing the subject. "You'll be fine, you always are," they might offer, which sounds like a compliment but is actually a dismissal of your current struggle. Think about it. When was the last time this person asked you a deep, probing question about your inner world and then quietly, patiently listened to the entire answer? When was the last time they remembered a small detail you shared weeks ago and brought it up, showing they had truly absorbed it? The giver's mind is a catalog of the important details of their loved ones' lives. The taker's mind is a catalog of their own needs and how others can meet them. This lack of reciprocation is not a simple oversight. It is a fundamental statement about how they see you. They do not see you as a complex, nuanced individual with a rich inner life equal to their own. They see you as a resource, a provider of attention, a source of validation, an emotional utility. Your bids for connection are inconvenient interruptions to the service they expect you to provide. This pattern is so damaging because it slowly erodes your sense of self-worth. You begin to believe that your thoughts, your feelings, and your experiences are not interesting or important. You start to censor yourself, making your emotional bids smaller and less frequent, until you eventually stop making them at all. You become a silent partner in your own emotional starvation. This is a profound form of psychological invisibility. The taker benefits from this because it allows the dynamic to continue unchallenged. The less you ask for, the more they can take. Recognizing this pattern of unreciprocated bids is like discovering a key to your own prison cell. It reveals that the bars are not made of steel but of silence and neglect, and you hold the power to stop honoring that silence. You hold the power to demand to be seen and heard, even if it's just by yourself at first. The journey back to selfhood begins with acknowledging the bids that have gone unanswered and realizing that you are worthy of a response. As we venture deeper into this territory, we move from the energetic and the emotional to the psychological games that underpin this toxic dynamic. The third sign that you are dealing with a taker is one of the most subtle and manipulative of all: the glorification of your sacrifice. A taker will rarely criticize your generosity. On the contrary, they will often praise it, but in a very specific way. They will frame your giving not as a choice you make, but as an innate part of your identity. You will hear phrases like, "You're just such a good person," or "I don't know what I'd do without you, you're a lifesaver," or "You handle these things so much better than I ever could." On the surface, these sound like compliments. They feel validating, but look closer at their function. These statements are not designed to celebrate you, they are designed to reinforce your role. They are a form of psychological conditioning. When a taker glorifies your sacrifice, they are placing you on a pedestal, but it's a pedestal inside a cage. They are saying, this is who you are. This giving, sacrificing person is the you that I value. Do not change. This is deeply connected to Carl Jung's concept of the persona. The persona is the social mask we wear, the version of ourselves we present to the world. For many givers, the persona is that of the helper, the competent one, the selfless friend. It's a role you may have adopted in childhood to gain love and approval. The taker intuitively recognizes this persona and exploits it. By praising your selflessness, they are feeding your persona, making it feel good to stay in that role. They are rewarding the mask, not the person behind it. Meanwhile, your true self, your soul, might be screaming for a break. It might be yearning to be selfish for a day, to say no, to put your own needs first. But the fear of disappointing the taker, of falling from the pedestal they've built for you, keeps you trapped. You become afraid of being seen as selfish or not nice. The taker has successfully equated your value with your utility to them. An example of this is the friend who constantly has drama in their life and relies on you for hours of emotional support. When you're exhausted and try to pull back, they might say something like, "But you're the only one who really understands me. You're so wise." This isn't a compliment about your wisdom. It's a strategic move to pull you back into the role of the therapist. It's a manipulation that leverages your own goodness against you. To counter this, you must begin the difficult work of detaching your self-worth from this role. This is a core part of what Jung called shadow work. The parts of you that are tired, angry, resentful, and want to say no are your shadow. They are not bad, they are repressed. They hold the key to your wholeness. You must learn to honor your own needs as much as you honor the needs of others. You must realize that your worth is inherent and not dependent on how much you can do for someone else. When a taker praises your sacrifice, learn to see it not as a compliment, but as the rattling of your cage. The only way out is to disappoint them. The only way to freedom is to choose your own well-being over their comfort and to let the pedestal crumble. You are not a role, you are a soul, and your soul deserves more than to be glorified for its own depletion. The fourth sign is a masterclass in passive aggression and responsibility avoidance. It is the sign of selective incompetence. A taker is often a person who appears perfectly capable, intelligent, and functional in most areas of their life, especially those that benefit them directly. They can manage complex projects at work, navigate intricate social circles, and learn new skills when it serves their own ambitions. However, when it comes to tasks that would involve reciprocating care, supporting you, or contributing to the shared emotional or practical labor of the relationship, they suddenly develop a mystifying level of incompetence. They become forgetful, clumsy, or technologically inept. They don't know how to do the very things they've seen you do 100 times. Think of the partner who can assemble an entire home theater system, but is terrible at loading the dishwasher correctly. Or the friend who can organize a multi-day music festival, but always forgets to call you back when you're going through a hard time. Or the family member who is a savvy investor, but doesn't understand how to book their own travel, relying on you to handle all the logistics for a family trip. This is not genuine incompetence. It is a strategic, often unconscious weaponization of helplessness. By claiming they are bad at something, they absolve themselves of the responsibility to even try. It forces you, the giver, to step in and handle it, reinforcing the familiar dynamic of you as the capable one and them as the one who needs care. It maintains the imbalance of power and effort in the relationship. This behavior is infuriating because it's so difficult to confront. If you point it out, they will likely react with wounded innocence. "I'm not doing it on purpose, I'm just not good at these things like you are." They frame your competence as a natural gift while framing their incompetence as an unchangeable, almost charming flaw. This once again ties back to the glorification of your sacrifice. Your competence becomes another bar in your cage. The psychological root of this is a deep-seated aversion to effort that does not yield immediate personal gain. The taker's internal calculus is always running. What's in it for me? If the task involves emotional labor, logistical work for someone else's benefit, or simple reciprocity, the answer is not enough. So they feign incompetence as the path of least resistance. It allows them to receive the benefits of the task being done without expending any of their own energy. Breaking this cycle requires you to do the unthinkable. Let them fail. When they say they don't know how to do something, you must resist the powerful urge to rescue them. You can say with a calm and neutral tone, "I'm sure you can figure it out." You can send them a link to a YouTube tutorial. You can let them experience the natural consequences of their inaction. Yes, the task might not get done to your standard. It might not get done at all. This will feel deeply uncomfortable at first. It will trigger all your conditioning to be the helpful one, but it is a necessary disruption of the pattern. You must stop being the safety net for their selective incompetence. By doing so, you are not being cruel. You are holding up a mirror and forcing them to confront the disparity between their capabilities and their willingness to contribute. You are teaching them, and more importantly yourself, that your energy is not an infinite resource for their convenience. We have now journeyed through the energetic, the emotional, and the psychological. We've seen how takers drain our energy, ignore our needs, glorify our sacrifices, and feign incompetence. It is time to address the fifth and final sign, which operates at the level of crisis and allegiance. This is the sign of the crisis-driven connection. A taker is often conspicuously absent during times of peace, contentment, and joy in your life. When you get a promotion, when you're in a happy new relationship, when you're feeling fulfilled and self-sufficient, they may offer a brief, perfunctory congratulations, but they often seem to fade into the background. Your joy does not feed them. Your independence is a threat to their role in your life. They may even exhibit subtle signs of envy or try to poke holes in your happiness, pointing out potential downsides or reminding you of past failures. However, the moment a crisis hits, they reappear with stunning speed and intensity. When you are grieving, when you are ill, when you have lost your job, or when you are in the depths of despair, the taker is suddenly by your side. They become the most supportive, attentive, and caring person you know. They will call, they will visit, they will offer advice. They seem to thrive in the chaos of your pain. Why does this happen? There are two primary reasons. First, your crisis makes you dependent again. It restores the familiar dynamic where you are in need and they are in a position of perceived power. It allows them to perform the role of a good friend or a caring partner without the long-term commitment of day-to-day reciprocity. Being there for a big, dramatic event is easier for them than the consistent, quiet effort of being present in the calm moments. Second, and more subtly, your pain validates them. For a person operating from a place of inner emptiness or misery, your happiness can be a painful mirror reflecting what they lack. But your suffering makes them feel better about their own state. It creates a sense of "at least I'm not that bad off," or it allows them to feel a sense of purpose and importance by being your rescuer. They are not connecting with you in your pain. They are using your pain to soothe their own. The inverse of this pattern is also true. The taker is often a manufacturer of their own constant crises. Their life is a never-ending series of dramas, emergencies, and misfortunes that require your immediate attention and energy. Just as you resolve one issue for them, another one conveniently appears. This ensures that your focus remains squarely on them. It keeps you perpetually in the role of the giver, the problem solver, the savior. It's a powerful form of control that prevents you from having enough time or energy to focus on your own life, your own goals, and your own happiness. To recognize this pattern is to see the very architecture of the relationship's foundation. Is your connection built on a mutual sharing of joys and sorrows, of peace and of crisis? Or is it a bond that only truly ignites in the presence of suffering, either yours or theirs? A healthy connection weathers storms but is built in the sunshine. A connection with a taker is addicted to the storm. To heal, you must begin to value the quiet, consistent presence of those who celebrate your sunshine as much as they shelter you from the rain. You must become wary of the firefighter who is only interested in your house when it is on fire. Your peace is not a boring interlude between dramas. Your peace is the entire point. We have now walked through the 5 signs: the psychic energy audit, the unreciprocated emotional bid, the glorification of your sacrifice, selective incompetence, and the crisis-driven connection. Take a moment to let these patterns settle. See how they interlock, how they reinforce one another, creating a self-sustaining system of depletion. Recognizing these signs is not about collecting evidence to win an argument with the taker. It is about collecting data for your own liberation. It is about giving a name to the invisible forces that have been draining your spirit. This recognition is the crucial first step, but the real transformation, the deep alchemy of the soul, begins when you turn your gaze inward and ask the most important question: why have I been a participant in this dynamic? What part of my own inner world, my own shadow, has allowed this to take root? This is not about self-blame. It is about radical self-ownership. It is the beginning of true individuation. And as we continue, we will explore the path away from depletion and toward a state of sovereign, conscious generosity. Now, I want you to pause and reflect honestly. As these signs have been described, has a specific face, a specific name, or a specific relationship come to mind? When was the last time you felt that profound energetic drain after an interaction and dismissed it as your own fault? This question is not for me. It is for you. It is for the part of you that has known the truth all along but has not been given the language to articulate it. The journey of reclaiming your energy is not an external battle. It is an internal awakening. It begins with the courage to look at your relationships not just for what you wish they were, but for what they truly are. The path forward from this realization can feel daunting. You've identified the dynamic, you see the patterns in your life, and the weight of that truth can feel heavy. But this is not an endpoint, it is a doorway. The pain of recognition is a sacred pain. It is the pain of a bone being reset. It hurts, but it is the necessary path to true healing. So what comes next? You do not have to become a hard, cynical, or guarded person. The goal is not to stop giving, but to learn to give with wisdom. The goal is to transform your unconscious generosity into conscious connection. This transformation involves the courageous work of building boundaries. A boundary is not a wall you build to keep people out. It is a line you draw to define where you end and another person begins. It is a statement to the world and to yourself that your energy, your time, and your emotional well-being are precious resources that you will no longer allow to be plundered. For the giver, setting a boundary can feel like an act of aggression. It can trigger immense guilt, as your entire identity may be wrapped up in being endlessly available. You must understand that this guilt is a symptom of the conditioning. It is a phantom pain from the role you are trying to shed. The taker in your life will certainly react to your new boundaries. They may respond with anger, with manipulation, with sob stories, or with accusations that you have changed and become selfish. You must see this reaction for what it is, a confirmation that the boundary was necessary. Their protest is proof that they were benefiting from your lack of one. This is where Carl Jung's concept of the shadow becomes your greatest ally. Your shadow self holds all the parts of you that you have disowned in order to be the good person. It holds your anger, your ability to say no, your desire for solitude, your right to be imperfect. To heal from the giver's depletion, you must turn and face your shadow. You must integrate it. This means allowing yourself to feel anger when your boundaries are crossed. It means recognizing that saying no to someone else is often saying yes to yourself. It means understanding that your need for rest is not laziness. It is a non-negotiable requirement for a healthy soul. Imagine your generosity as a well. For years, you have allowed anyone and everyone to come and draw from it at any time without restriction. You never stop to check the water level. The takers in your life have been coming with giant buckets, taking far more than they need, spilling much of it, and never once helping to maintain the well. Now you are feeling the mud at the bottom. The water is low, and you are exhausted. Building boundaries is the act of putting a fence around your well. It is not to keep everyone out forever. It is to give the well time to be replenished by the natural springs of your own spirit. It is to become the conscious keeper of your own well. You get to decide who gets to draw water. You get to decide how much they get. You get to ensure that those who come to the well are also willing to help tend the garden around it. You may find that the takers, faced with a fence and a conscious keeper, will simply move on to find another unguarded well. Let them. Their departure is not a loss, it is a purification. The people who truly love and respect you will understand your need to protect your energy. They will respect the fence. They may even offer to help you maintain it. These are the people to whom you can offer your conscious, joyful generosity. This is a gift given from a place of fullness, not of obligation. It is an energy exchange that nourishes both the giver and the receiver. Your journey of individuation, of becoming a whole and integrated self, depends on this work. It is the process of shedding the social mask of the perfect giver and embracing the complexity of your full being, a being that is both light and shadow, both generous and boundaried, both compassionate and self-protecting. This is not selfishness, it is the ultimate act of self-love, and from that place of self-love, your interactions with the world will transform. You will no longer attract takers because your very energy will signal that your well is not for public consumption. It is a sacred site, and access is granted only to those who approach with respect, reciprocity, and reverence. As our time together draws to a close, let the weight and the power of this understanding settle within you. This has been more than a simple list of warning signs. It has been an invitation to a profound inner transformation, an invitation to stop being a victim of your own generosity and to become the sovereign ruler of your own energetic kingdom. You have seen the patterns, you have been given the psychological keys, and you have been shown the path toward reclaiming your life force. The depletion you have felt is not your destiny. It is a signal that a more authentic, more powerful way of being is waiting for you. This work is not easy. It requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to disappoint others in order to be true to yourself. But the reward is immeasurable. It is the reward of peace. It is the reward of energy. It is the reward of waking up in the morning feeling full, not empty. It is the reward of having relationships that are sources of joy, not sources of drainage. It is the reward of finally, truly coming home to yourself. The concepts of the shadow, the persona, individuation, and the alchemy of the soul are not just psychological jargon. They are living principles that guide the bravest of inner journeys. By engaging with them, you are participating in a timeless process of self-creation. You are turning the lead of your suffering into the gold of your wisdom. You are no longer just a giver. You are a conscious creator of your own reality. Now, as you move forward from this space, carry this question with you. Let it be the catalyst for your next brave step. What is one small, seemingly insignificant no that you can say in the next 24 hours to honor your own energy? It does not have to be a grand, dramatic confrontation. It can be as simple as not answering a text immediately, as declining a small request that you don't have the energy for, or as carving out 10 minutes of quiet time for yourself when you would normally give it to someone else. The size of the action does not matter. The intention behind it is everything. I leave you with this final thought. The world does not need more depleted martyrs. It needs more whole, vibrant, and joyful human beings who give from a place of authentic abundance. Your depletion serves no one, least of all yourself. Your wholeness, however, has the power to silently heal and inspire everyone you connect with. Your future self is waiting for you to make this choice. They are hoping you will choose to protect the sacred ground of your own well-being. What you do next will determine the rest of your story. Make it a story of reclamation.